So let's go now to a question about Warner, Paramount, and now I hear Netflix getting involved. As at least a week and a half ago, Netflix apparently has thrown their hat into the ring regarding some of these negotiations for is it Warner
It's Warner
that
Brothers. Yeah. Warner
that's
Brothers
up for sale?
is for sale, right. So,
Have you heard anything about this?
yeah, I know a little bit about it. So what everybody in town is assuming who will win this is Paramount. David Ellison has made no secret about wanting to acquire Warner Brothers as well. They've made 3 offers so far, from what I understand. Each has been rejected by Warner's, but the prevailing wisdom is they'll find a way forward. Trump has chimed in on it, saying he hopes Paramount. This isn't verbatim. I'm paraphrasing, but he alluded to the fact that he thinks that it would be great if Paramount buys it. Which he shouldn't be doing.
Why? Why?
Well, he doesn't say why. He's just I think he tweeted that one. The other suitors, there have been other suitors as well. I don't know if anybody else has made a formal offer yet, but there's several
There's
people
a
talking
rumor
about it.
that Netflix
Netflix
was
is one of them.
getting
Yeah,
involved in the negotiations.
yeah, they could be.
Does
It's a
Netflix
different
have
bit.
that kind of money?
Well, yeah. I mean, Netflix has more money than any of the other studios. The one who has the most money, of course, is YouTube. People forget that, but that's Google, and I don't think they're interested in buying a studio. Although you never know. I mean,
It would
Amazon
be.
did; they bought MGM.
Yeah. Wow. It's amazing.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see
The
what
fit,
happens.
the fit with Netflix and Paramount, how would that work if that were to, I
Well,
mean, Netflix and Warner,
yeah,
excuse me.
Netflix and Warner or Paramount and Warner,
If Netflix went out and actually was
right?
able to buy,
Okay,
you know,
so I'll tell you.
Warner.
Actually, let's start with Paramount because I think this is factoring into Netflix's psychology here. Paramount, if Paramount does it and they successfully win the studio, they can combine their own library of work across TV and film, along with Warner Brothers' library of work across TV, film, and HBO and everything else. When you have that together, you can go up against Netflix much more easily to try and become number one. And they saw Disney do this 6, 7 years ago when they purchased Fox, and everybody thought at the time, "Why are they purchasing Fox? It's like the library is not that interesting." And although it is interesting, but there were a lot of people were overlooking the fact that Hulu, which was controlled by originally 4 or 5 studios equally, and then slowly sort of eaten up, so that Disney was controlling pretty much half of it, and then Fox and Comcast were controlling pretty much the rest. By buying Fox, they would take control of Hulu, and then it would expand what they were trying to do with Disney Plus. They have a much more robust online, series of networks.
But
So
here's my
Warner
question.
Brothers already has that. If Paramount buys that plus their own plus Paramount Plus, then they can compete more easily against Netflix. So I'm wondering if it's true that Netflix does want to get involved. Maybe Netflix is doing this as a self-preservation technique, and then also saying, it'd be nice if we have distribution theatrically and some of the other things that a
But
major
here's the
studio
thing.
does
I
have.
have a question for you. I have a
Yeah.
question for you about this. Why does Netflix want Paramount? Warner, excuse me. I keep doing that. Why does Netflix want Warner? What I'm thinking is this. I have heard that Netflix is actually getting involved in the podcast business. They are going to start putting podcast up on their offering for their subscribers, that you'll be able to go and watch certain podcasts with better production on the service. And what it leads me to believe is, do they actually see buying Warner as a way of also getting into social media, basically? Does Netflix want to compete with the YouTubes of the world, the TikToks of the world, the Instagrams of the world for 30-second videos and stuff? Can they create a different channel within their ecosystem that brings on social media presence and brings in a younger audience in essence?
I don't know if those are your prime goals, then you're not going to want to buy Warner Brothers or any of the major studios. You'd be more interested in buying Spotify or Sirius XM and then expanding because you can always make your own stuff already. But the important thing to remember about the social media stuff like TikTok is these are consumer driven content. These are people who are on the platforms already. Most of whom are amateurs. They're making their own content. They come across as real that way, and people more and more are being drawn towards this. So what you are here's something interesting that's kind of like that. That's really happening in real time right now. We've talked before about when I worked in China, we used to call them noodle shows. I was there when they started along, and these are over here they're called vertical. So it's vertical entertainment. You watch on your phone. You watch 3 minutes of an episode of something, and you pay $1 each for however many 10 minutes or whatever. It's called vertical entertainment over here. That is taking off to the point where there's several platforms that are all making their own content. There's a lot of content creators that used to work in Hollywood and can't find work right now, who are making their own stuff. It's a thing that's happening. It was attempted by Jeffrey Katzenberg 5 years ago with Quibi, but it was before its time. So they had the right idea. Now
Never
it's
heard of
time. And
Quibi.
so all the major studios, not all, but most of the major studios are now introducing these platforms where they can create their own verticals. And everybody's just
okay.
suddenly jumping into the pool all at once. One of my old bosses, Bill Block, was just that got announced 3 days ago that he's starting one. And there's several others that are
How
studio
much
based that are
money
starting
is
up.
at stake with these kind of things? Are we talking
They're
billions of dollars?
It's billions of dollars. They're estimating it's currently valued between $3 and $5 billion for the industry. And now that it's exploding, it's probably going to turn into a big bubble at some point. But it's just gonna grow. It's the only growth engine that we have as a platform right now in Hollywood.
By the way, NVIDIA went over the valuation of $5 trillion
Yeah,
as of earlier today.
I saw that. Crazy. And yesterday they announced for Apple it's $4 trillion.
Not bad.
Crazy. Yeah,
Not bad.
yeah, we're
All
in the
right.
wrong business.
Let's talk about Canada for a second. Not Greenland, Canada. Apparently, Trump, that's where we're going with this conversation, got angry at
Yeah,
Canada.
yeah.
Someone, I think in the Ottawa government or some other province, running basically an anti-tariff advert showing Ronald Reagan
Mm-hmm.
talking about tariffs. Now, the Reagan Foundation, from what I heard, also got angry about this advert, claiming that the person took Reagan's speech out of context. But let's leave that behind here for a second. Trump apparently was made aware of this advert, and just like that, instead of laughing at it like South Park, or laughing at it like a Saturday Night Live skit, or just mocking it, just like people should be mocking Mamdani. By the way, I think that's the way and the mistake that people made with Mamdani. They took him seriously. They should have mocked him. If David Letterman still had his show, could you imagine the jokes he would be making about Mamdani? It's the Mel Brooks way to get back at someone and bring them down to size. Mocking them with comedy works. Brooks said, what was I going to do? How was I going to fight against Hitler? The way that he fought against Hitler and this whole crazy Nazi idea was to make fun of it.
Right.
Springtime for Hitler. The
Yeah,
Producers.
Yeah, that was a
One
great
of the
movie.
great entertainment works of all time.
Or
okay?
Hogan's Heroes, same thing.
Hogan's Hero.
Made fun of the whole Nazi regime.
Here's
Made them
the
look
thing.
like idiots,
Why?
which is good.
Why can't someone say to Trump, and again, I don't dislike Trump. I think he's right about a lot of things. I think the way he communicates his ideas leaves a lot to be desired. Okay? Having said that, let's get back here to the centrist platform. Why couldn't Trump just make a joke about it?
Yeah. Because
why does he have to say, oh, we're going to put 10% more tariffs onto Canada now? Like a little kid.
Sense of humor. I don't think he has a sense of humor. He takes everything personally.
Well, that he does, apparently. You're
Anyway,
right.
I did see a longer clip of the Reagan thing. They have it on video, and so uh, Ronald Reagan used to, and a lot of presidents do this. I don't think Trump has ever done this, but they would have like every Sunday or every weekend they would have a speech that they would read for the radio, and it would go out over international radio networks and stuff.
Started
But
with
they would,
FDR, by the way, as
yeah,
far
it
as I
started
know.
with Fireside Chats with FDR, correct? And my dad remembers listening to those. Kid. Um, so I think Obama was the last one to do it. But Reagan did it, and he was really good at it because he was a former actor, and he would always video himself, even though the stuff they were releasing, because of just for the presidential files, stuff they were releasing was all audio. So what you heard on that commercial is a little piece of what he was talking about. But I've actually seen that entire thing, and it wasn't. You could say it was taken out of context because it was shortened. The context remained the same. He was dead serious about how tariffs just hurt people in the long run. They don't help.
Correct.
So Trump
Correct.
got upset because it
That's
goes
no.
straight to his base.
You're right about that. Absolutely right. Reagan was against tariffs. I mean, I remember that the Reagan Foundation claimed they took this little thing out of context, but you're right about the bigger point. Reagan was really against tariffs. He said so.
Yeah, if you can look online, you can find the if you Google it or go to YouTube, you can find maybe the entire recording, and you'll get the context of it, and you can decide for yourself if it was taken out of context or if it was true to what Reagan believed. But I thought, nonetheless, I felt that the ad that the Canadians put out was just really well made.
I
They didn't have to
haven't
make a
seen it
larger
actually.
point. It's good. It's good. It's well made. They played it a couple
I
times during the World Series.
really,
Yeah,
and they Canada bought
they bought
advertising
airtime.
space.
Yep, I
Now,
just saw it last
this,
night.
it's
So, which is
interesting.
interesting because this is a Canadian team versus an American team. That's not getting enough. People aren't talking about that
Mm,
enough. It's interesting. To your point, how everything is political. This is political.
a little like when the U.S. and Canada were playing in hockey
Mm-hmm.
uh, over the winter. Remember that? That got a
Mm-hmm.
little heated.
Yeah, that's right. You're right.
I kind of forgot about that.
Yeah, I forgot about that
I
too.
put that out of my mind. It is a
Mm-hmm.
U.S. versus Canada thing.
Mm-hmm.
Having
Yeah.
said that, I dislike the Dodgers enough to root for Canada for this one.
If the Blue Jays had succeeded in getting Otani and Yamamoto and all the other players that they tried to outduel us with, if they'd been successful in
Mm,
getting them, would you be rooting then for the Dodgers? Because they would be the ones overspending.
No, I would not be rooting for the
You just
Dodgers.
don't like the Dodgers.
Yeah, exactly. I admit that. I grew up in New York. I grew up a Yankee fan as a kid. I don't root for the Yankees anymore, but I was taught by my grandfather to dislike the Dodgers. He was a New York Giants fan,
Got it.
and he never liked the Dodgers in Brooklyn nor Los Angeles. He did not have kind things to say about your team.
Yeah, sports are a funny thing. They divide. They divide and conquer.
All content on the Risk Reward Show is for entertainment purposes only and not to be construed as financial advice. The hosts are idiots. They don't know what they're doing. They just walked in from the street. Investments involve risk, so please consult a qualified professional before making decisions.
Let's go to the predictive survey part of our show. Question
Yeah,
number one. Will the Federal Reserve, now that they've lowered their interest rate by 25 basis points today, lower their interest rate again in December by 25 basis points?
it's all going to depend on what the inflation numbers come out
That's
as.
yes or no.
I think no,
And the reason why?
because I think inflation is going to be kicking in. You've got the Christmas buying season, the Black Fridays, all that kind of stuff. You've got consumers now concerned about their income, their ability for work. I think people start pulling back on their spending a bit. Maybe some of these tariffs start kicking in a little more, like it has with coffee and automobiles and stuff. Yeah, I think that the Fed looks at all that and has some second thoughts.